Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start the recording. Yeah, yeah, exactly right. So Steve and I were kind of contemplating some ideas on what to share with you all tonight, and we thought coach evaluation and looking at two specific documents to help you and your administration establish some sort of baseline and some sort of kind of two things you guys can point to and utilize to kind of provide feedback for your coaches and to kind of help elevate overall standards. Is that right, Steve? And any
Yeah,
reason? Yeah.
yeah. I just think that it's a small expectation that could have the possibility of big time gains in improving coaching in an organization, and ultimately the experience that the kids have and that their parents have. So we've designed these two documents, and while Tom gets them up, I'll kind of give you an overview. What we wanted to do was to have coaches at the end of the year basically turn in a couple of things. Oh, good. We've got it there.
Yeah, we
So
got
Tom, do you want to open it up and we can?
Yeah. So just under in your member dashboard, again, I've emailed these out to you. I've emailed it out to everyone on our leadership meetups list as well, but it's under member dashboard under administrator guides and resources. We'll be looking at the coaches checklist and then the coaches portfolio template. So here's the template. And Steve, if you want to, oh, I'm sorry, let's do the, have it in the wrong order. Let's do the checklist first, kind of
Okay.
setting the expectation.
So I was asked this question a few years ago: what makes a good youth coach? And I thought about it for a second. I thought, I think a good youth coach is a coach who the kids want to come back and play for. They keep coming back year after year. So, a lot of people would answer that question like, by you got to win a lot of games or something, or a lot of baseball. But honestly, I think I'm trying to frame the coach so he has a picture of himself a little bit differently. It's a kind of guy that kids want to come back and play for. The coach raises attainable expectations and standards for their players and parents. So if you don't have a team very good and you tell them that you need to win 80% of your games, it's not very attainable. If you're getting beat by 10 runs and it's the fourth inning, maybe what you want to do is you want to win the half inning. Maybe you want to win the at bat. Maybe you want to win the play. You try to create or teach coaches to have expectations and standards that the players and parents can actually attain. A coach has to understand about helping kids develop personally as well as athletically. That means if you got a stud that's not hustling, you know what? He needs to sit, right? So you have to help develop him, not only athletically, but even more importantly, personally. A coach is concerned with the health and well-being of the players. So we're talking about nutrition and making sure that the coach is aware of just little things in terms of maybe diet on a road trip.
And Steve, I'm sorry to interrupt. I would also say mental health as well, right? You and I've spoken about that in the past. We've worked with some psychologists to develop some guides. Mental health, as well as the diet and overall health is certainly something that we are trying to help organizations with.
And guys, I think, what's a teachable moment, right? What is it that what good people and good coaches do for the kids? Well, they recognize a teachable moment and then they go ahead and use it. So when something happens during the game, like here's an interesting thing. I saw this the other day. My wife's volleyball team was playing a team, Herculaneum here in South St. Louis County. And in the middle of the game, there was a tough play and the referee gave the ball to the other team. And, the fans and most people could see the ball was tipped by the blocker, right? Well, the referees didn't see it. And all of a sudden, the little girl from Herculaneum went up to the referee and said, "Hey, ref, it went off my hand." Holy cow. What a teachable moment, not for her, but for the girls on my wife's team, you know, what a teachable moment. So identifying teachable moments and then taking advantage of them, making sure that we're concerned and maybe we set some expectations for academic performance. There's a preseason, in-season, postseason plan or guide that coaches should be aware of. Using the coaching resources like Coach Baseball Right on a weekly basis at practice and during the games. This one here, this is a big one. A scaffold and progressive practice plan. Hey guys, that means that the base running you do at the first practice, it will be much different the third practice and much different the fifth practice as you continue to develop your team. All of these things here are simply a framework to set for coaches so that they can begin to understand how to improve their skills. That's all we're doing. Most people would agree with everything here. And all we're doing is making coaches aware that these are expectations for them to help them improve their game.
Do you guys, so going through this, is there anything that we're missing? You know, Steve and I are always constantly talking, like, what are we missing? What are we not thinking of? Is this too much? Would this be something of help for your administration, your board members, you know, maybe your coaches, coordinator? What feedback do you guys have for us?
I think it's great. I mean, one thing I would think is, I think is important is a coach who is constantly wanting to learn and improve themselves as well. So whether that's upgrading their accreditation or, you know, that would, to me, be a really good thing. It's probably covered there, but I mean, as a coach, you know, you want to be committed to continuous improvement too.
Right.
I mean, we've just got to, you know, just introduce a new accreditation system in Australia, and you would hope that all coaches would seek to become accredited and keep up to date with the stuff that you guys put up on your website and other resources.
Any other thoughts, guys, on this? I mean, have we hit most of the things, or is there something that you say, hey, Steve, you guys really missed this point?
I like the to kind of piggyback on what Gary said. I certainly do like the fact that you lay out what the expectations are for the coach, right? I think so many organizations, they're just grabbing volunteers and, you know, they're giving them an equipment bag and say, okay, here you go. And I think I think something that's put together like this, that there's a real need for it. And honestly, I think if more organizations put forth the effort to do this, they'd find that there's a lot of coaches that hunger for this kind of stuff because, you know, whatever the case may be, whether they don't know where to look, don't have the time to look, whatever that might be, to have something like this put before them and say, oh, wow, okay, if anything, it gets them rolling and it puts something in front of them to maybe help shorten the learning curve.
Yeah,
So,
you know, it's kind of like giving the guys a roadmap and saying, hey, this is who you want to be, right?
Mhm.
This is what good coaches do. Because a lot of guys are interested, they want to coach,
yeah,
but they don't have a picture of where they're going.
right.
You know?
So you give them this, and now it's like, okay, now you got to start. Now make it your own. But here's a lot of the bullet points
Right.
to hit on. Yeah, I love it, and I love that you hit on the mental aspect of it, Steve, you and Tom, because I have a 10U team, and right now it's every practice that continues to be what we're driving home. And I set a theme for our practice for every week, and our theme this week is fail forward. So many of these kids think that it's wrong to fail.
Mm.
And it's just, my son's only 10, but even just in the few short years that he's been playing, I don't know where it comes from, but I see more and more of these kids struggle with striking out, booting a ball, making a bad throw. And again, I don't know where it's coming from, why it's getting worse, but it kind of falls in line with what you guys said about the mental aspect and driving that home. I think it all ties together, that we just as coaches need to continuously preach dealing with the failure and the mental side of the game.
I think some of that actually comes from the car ride home, when mom or dad might want to try to fix every mistake that a kid made. So a kid gets the idea, that he doesn't want to fail. It's bad to fail. And I love fail forward. I love, you're right. You're trying to help them deal with the things that are inevitable in life, difficulties, and we're going to have failures. The most important thing they're probably going to learn from you might be the fail forward concept. So it's amazing how important this is, that we help organizations, help coaches deliver experiences that can be life lasting.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we tell them too that, hey, if you're not failing in practice, then we're not doing our job as coaches, because we're not challenging you. If it's too easy, you're not learning, you're not getting better.
I like that. I'm going to use that in my class tomorrow. That's good.
Yeah. Hey, Pat.
Go ahead,
Pat.
Tom.
I was just going to say, Pat, is there anything I just want to make sure you have a chance to say or weigh in?
Yeah, there was an article I read, God, it was 20 years ago. It was in Yahoo Sports, and it was written by two former professional players who talked about that ride home. And they said that, the kids hate that because they're always getting lectured and they don't feel like it's fun. But they said they love having grandparents come to watch, because they just like to watch them play. And that's the one thing that kids like to hear. I just like to watch you play. And it takes the stress off the kids. They haven't got to worry about, I'm going to get lectured when I get home. Just let them enjoy the game. And it's hard for parents, I think, sometimes to let go. And that's why the training material, I think, is so important in practicing at home with the kids, instead of talking it through and lecturing them.
Yeah, I like that approach, the grandparents approach. I'm just glad I'm here watching you play, Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. I'll go ahead and pull up the last document, and this is the coach portfolio template. And this Steve and I hope can kind of establish, once again, just a very basic level method of just collecting information and establishing a standard, but also looking to see how people are progressing and adopting. Steve, do you want to kind of talk your way through this a bit, or?
Absolutely. So you can see here the provide a copy of your overall seasonal goal. What is the coach? What does he look for? What is he trying to accomplish this year with the kids? And Tommy's going to talk just a little bit when I'm done here on the SMART goal worksheets. But having an idea of what your overall goal is, and providing that to some coaching coordinator, then a copy of the coach's original preseason parent letter, a copy of the preseason parent meeting agenda, and then listing 3 practice templates from maybe the beginning, the middle, and the end of the season that you can submit. So we can see, but really most importantly, the coach can look at his templates and see what is it that he's doing. List 2 Coach Baseball Right drills that the coach enjoyed from our Coach Baseball Right video library. And then maybe one suggestion that we don't have that coach would like us to have. And then an off-season kind of a journal where he lists one area of improvement that he would like to improve on this year. And then answer the question, how do you plan on improving that? What can the administrators do to help? And any specific issues that came up during the season, probably a parent issue or maybe a kid issue that maybe the coach wanted to talk through to get some help with. Now, this whole thing would take probably no more than a half an hour, 40 minutes for a coach to create and do. But it's important that he begin to identify for himself, as well as the coaching director, how he's doing, what he's doing, and how he can improve. Hey, Tom, do you want to hit a little bit on your SMART goal worksheet there?
Sure. So Steve and I debate a lot on how detailed to get with some things, and so we can get very detailed and very kind of intentional on this process. Some of you might have heard about SMART goals in the in your own business. Something that's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timed. Right? It's just an acronym that kind of helps not only adults but helps kids really focus in on setting attainable, successful goals that they can build from, right? So that's kind of the idea behind the SMART goal is what, as a coach, what would you want to specifically work on that you can measure, that you can attain, that's relevant, and that has a time marker to that, right? So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect that we can get into the weeds on down the road is kind of this understanding by design. And that's kind of in the curriculum teaching world, that's kind of backwards design. So you start with, where do you want your team, what do you aspire your team to be? And then you work backwards. How do you get to that aspiration? What are the skills? What's the knowledge? What's the understandings that you have to teach them on a week by week basis to get to that end goal? Anyway, I don't want to get too much into that because I could talk for about an hour or so on each of those. But so we're trying to provide, again, some framework, some mechanisms to help coaches at certain levels attain success, and then ultimately also help administrators evaluate and provide feedback to help elevate and provide more resources for coaches down the road.
So guys, my feeling a lot of times is that a guy becomes part of the administrative team for an organization and he's busy. And what he winds up doing is simply taking what he's asked to do and he does it. But he doesn't improve upon it. He just does it. And organizations go from year to year to year, and they do the same thing in 2020 as they did in 1980. And case in point, think about your T-ball programs. The same things that I used in 1984 for my kids to play is still being used in this area 40 years later, 35 years later. Why? If people are really leading, and if people are trying to grow and improve the organization, they not only do what they're asked to do, but they make it better. What we're doing with these documents is giving people a head start. We're trying to give them a head start on how to improve the organization. And then hopefully they would take these documents and tailor them to their own usage, and then give us some feedback so we can take the best of your worlds and give it to other people. So that's our hope. And I hope that would be the hope of the leaders, of organizational leaders across the country, as they implement some of these.
Hey,
Sure.
Steve, one thought that came to my mind when you were speaking through that is thought of Jesse Cole, who is the owner of the Savannah Bananas. I don't know if you guys have heard of him or not, but it's a summer collegiate team, and they run a business, and the basically their motto is it's business done differently, and they take what's normal, what everybody else is doing, and do the opposite. Okay. But one of the things that they say is one of the things that they look for in their fans and players in their organization is they're always looking for, what are friction points, right? What are things that I'll give you an example. If we're going to talk about travel ball, friction point for most people is, you pay to play, and then you show up at a tournament and everybody's got to pay a gate fee, right? So I look at it from the standpoint of these organizations to find things that are friction points within their organizations and go to work on that. Collectively get together and like you said, things have been getting done in your area, the same for 35 years. Well, let's evaluate it. Let's get together and say, okay, hey, what bothers you about, you know, as a parent? Is there things that bother you about the organization, whether it be coaches or games or whatever it might be, facilities, and go to work on those friction points. And I think that with that, it would probably start the ball rolling in a positive direction to get organizations, make them better.
Yeah, Tom, I kind of like that idea of someplace in our portfolios or help identifying the quote friction points, and then trying to take action to make those better. I think that's what all organizations should be doing. We certainly should have something like that in some of our documentation. That's a great point.
Yeah, that is. Thank you.
Guys, any other questions or concerns about not only tonight's topic, but maybe something else while we're here?
Oh, it's perfect timing. We're just starting our season. We got all these coaches either coming back or starting for the first time, they're all there picking up their team kits yesterday. So I will put something on our club Facebook page and with a link to your site. It's a good time over here for people to start focusing on these sorts of issues.
Good.
So yeah,
Good.
thanks.
And the other thing too is, and Gary, you're ahead of us now, but and I'm assuming you're doing this too, but feel free to share our Zoom link with them. They don't have to register. For registering, it gives me a control way to email some things out, but invite them, jump in just for a few minutes, and I know it's more difficult too with the time
The main
difference,
issue with us is that people are at work, so I've had to sort of put my little do not disturb on, and some people don't have the luxury of being able to do that.
Right.
But yeah, I'll certainly keep letting people know.
Yeah.
Tom, do we have any potential topics for the next 2 weeks?
Like you've said in the past, we have a bunch. Gary and everyone, is there something you guys want to hear about that you think was relevant to your organization at this moment, or otherwise we'll keep going.
So Tom, can I just throw something out there?
Please.
I sent out today a excuse me, it was like a blog I wrote on playing time. And if you haven't seen it, go to our Facebook group, coaches group, the one with 17,000 in it, and it should be one of the top articles and one of the features. And to me, that's a topic that's very controversial, right? I mean, and there's a million ways to do it. And in the article, I said, hey, they all could be right. And the reason they all could be right is, at the end of the day, the coach needs to know what he's doing, needs to do what he says he does. And if you follow those two things, know what you're doing, and then do what you say you're going to do, you're going to have minimal problems. But there is no one way to talk about playing time. You can say, well, I play all my kids even. Well, I guarantee you half your parents are upset because they want their kids to play more because they want to win. And you say, well, I'm playing all my kids, I'm playing my best kids, I'm playing. Well, then you got the other half saying, well, I want everybody to play the same. It's not about trying to make people happy, right? It's about figuring out what you think is right based on your experiences, communicating that, and then doing it. And the next year you can evolve that decision based on the data you have, and you can do it maybe slightly different or slightly better. But that's a big topic. So if you get a chance, go ahead and read that. Maybe we can talk about that, Tom, or maybe you guys have other interests, other concerns. We can certainly talk about those. I can tell you, parent issues up here and over playing time, it's at an all-time high. I have never seen it any worse than I have right now.
Maybe that's a topic. How, managing parents. How do we engage parents, and how do we get the best out of parents? Because there's inevitably conflict. There, as you say, there are different expectations that some parents have over others. How do you manage that? That's probably a useful thing to explore.
Yeah, and I've seen firsthand what happens, through friends of mine, not through my own self, because I've been lucky at SLU, but I've seen firsthand how if you don't have an organization that has an understanding of an infrastructure, parents go crazy. They literally go crazy. They can hijack the team. They can literally hijack the team and screw it up if the organization doesn't do what it needs to do. So these are, maybe we'll put that down, Tom, as a potential topic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anybody else? Any other topics?
Being that we do talk a lot about organizations, I would be curious to find out about fundraising. What different fundraising ideas and things that you have maybe experienced or seen other people do for their organizations.
I like that. That's another good one.
Yeah.
We'll put that down. We can investigate that ourselves and use our own creativity and things that have worked or not worked for us.
Yeah.
And who gets the credit for the fundraising?
You're right.
Something up here the other day, some parent wasn't going to participate. And at the end of the coach says, well, I'm not going to, that's okay, but I'm not going to give you credit for it. And the parent thought, well, what do you mean? Why I'm not getting credit? The coach said, no, you're not participating. So it's amazing what you would think that a parent might know, what they assume, what they just kind of assume, which sometimes is erroneous. But yeah, I like that topic. I think another one, Tom, just to write down too, would be tournaments.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to hear the experiences of these people in tournaments and their expectations. Because I can tell you from a tournament director's point of view, they think two things are important for tournaments. It's what kind of ring they give you for winning. And the second thing is how many games they're providing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we can do, if you guys are hosting tournaments, I think we can do a lot better than that. So maybe a good quality tournament talk, Tom, would be a good topic as well.
Sounds good. Okay, well, we're coming up on 8:30, or we're past 8:30. Just wanted to draw your attention. Our next leadership meetup will be November 16th, it looks like. And stay tuned. The link has changed, or has not changed, the Zoom link. So feel free, other colleagues, other partners in your organization. I will try to get this video recording up and into the member dashboard. It's also going to be available on YouTube, our YouTube channel. Hopefully, utilize those to the best of your ability. But thanks for coming tonight. Thanks for your engagement. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week. And Steve, anything you want to say before we head out?
No, I think this Sunday, I'll be on at 7 o'clock Central Time. And I think I'm talking about advanced, I think it's advanced bunt defenses. So I think that'll be Sunday, and we'll figure out how I may Zoom it, to be honest with you, like this. It's easier for me to Zoom than it is to do the Facebook Live thing. So if you guys are interested, send me an email and I can send you the link. Okay.
I can get that around to people over here if you want.
Please, that'd be awesome. And again, that's Sunday at 7.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And Steve, we can send that out via our system too. That way we can disperse that across our entire community. So
good. Hey guys, thanks for joining us tonight. And as always, it's always a lot of fun for me to meet and talk with you guys. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and ideas and being here.
Thanks everyone. See you later.
Bye
thanks,
guys.
Bye-bye.
Be safe.
Thank you, Steve and Tom. These are great. I appreciate you guys hosting these and providing this platform for us. It's great. Thank
We
you.
enjoy it. So you have a great week.
You do the
Bye-bye.
same. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Everybody gone, Tom?
Looks like it. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here.